What's up, guys? This is going to be the first Priceless Parlay recap. I'm going to be going over UFC 314 results, who I think the winners should fight next. I'm going to give you the results of some of my bets and parlays. I'm going to be going over a little strategy I like to use, betting on the first three fights of the night. I did want to say there's some guys out there, I think like Matty Betts, who called Nora Cornell by submission. And I was sitting here thinking I was onto something with the knockout. But that's pretty crazy. I've seen quite a few guys going Nora Cornell by submission, which is pretty wild. But yeah, definitely, I would say don't just come here and watch my videos. Watch some other guys' breakdowns. Get a little bit out of what they have to say, not just what I have to say. But other than that, I would say make sure that you tune into what I have to say, because
I mean, it'd be nice.
I feel like I'm just better and cooler than those guys.
Yeah, now let's get into the first fight of the night. We went Nora Cornell money line, which ended up working out pretty well for us. I was kind of scared at the first round because she was getting manhandled there, but second round she got the submission. My long shot was that she was going to get the knockout, but she got it done. Got it done for the parlays. I think next she called out Island Perez. I think that's a good matchup for her. Not for her, for Island Perez. I think she'll probably end up losing that fight, but it was a good call out. And also, she needs to get the weight cut under control because first fight of the night, missed weight. It's a bad look, especially since there is no 145 division anymore. She's going to have to figure out a way to make that weight. Second fight, Marco Tulio, we did knockout or decision. Easy money. He looks so good. It was kind of scary. So I think it would make sense to give him somebody in the top 15, but pretty low down, maybe Roman Kopylov. Although I do think it would be dope to see him fight Paulo Costa. If Paulo Costa's even ever going to fight again, I don't know. But yeah, that's what I like to see. Marco Tulio versus one of those two. Sumadarje. We took that fight to go over 2.5 rounds. My long shot was Sumadarje by decision. So both of those hit. I'm thinking Sumadarje next. I like him versus Ode Osborne. I think that's a matchup where both of those guys will be able to do well, be a barn burner. Don't know who would win that one, but that's the one I'd like to see in that division. Michael Olenjacek. I'm better at saying his last name now than his first name. I think it's Mikal. But just let's let him fight Therese Finney. I think Therese Finney needs to fight somebody who is going to knock him out, because that last performance was absolutely horrible. Julian Erosa, I need to apologize because I put Darren Elkins in my official picks, what I was betting on, where we got 8 correct, should have been 9 because that referee stopped that Woodson fight so early. But and it also should have been 10 because I should have taken Erosa. I was betting with my heart and not my brain there. I shouldn't have given you guys that information. I should have kept that to myself and told y'all to go with Erosa. But what are you going to do? I learned my lesson. Let's let Julian Erosa fight Andre Fili. I think that would be a good one. My son's a big Andre Fili fan. That's his favorite fighter. I think it would be pretty exciting. So yeah, Erosa versus Fili. Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper ruined my hopes and dreams of seeing Jim Miller beat a young up-and-comer and get another win. Dude, and that long shot, that Jim Miller inside the distance at plus 1,000, I wanted that so bad. All my friends wanted it so bad. People were calling me after he won the first round, like, we got this, we got this. Dude. Fuck you, Chase Hooper. Give him Tom Nolan. That's who he wants. And when that fight happens, I'm betting on Tom Nolan in round 1. Oh, fucking pissed me off. Vina Jandarobi. I my pick on that fight that I posted last week was over 2.5 rounds. I started regretting it. If I could have posted a live video on YouTube, which I haven't figured out how to do yet, I'd have been like, never mind. Let's just take Jandiroba money line. I changed my mind on that last minute, but either way, over 2.5 still happened, and she won. So even if I would have switched it, even though we kept it the same, still hit on over 2.5 there. But Vina Jandiroba, I would like to see her fight Wei Li next. Give her the title shot. I mean, she's got a good record. She's beat all these girls. I think it makes sense. I think she'll lose that fight, but let's give her the title shot. Dan Ige, we bet on this fight to go over 2.5 rounds, and it didn't, and it should have. My long shot was Sean Woodson by decision. I had a really long parlay going, and the only thing that missed was Sean Woodson by decision. I was so mad. I was calling my boys. I was like, man, I would have won another $1,500 if the ref didn't screw me there. But they showed the scorecards, and somehow Dan Ige was up 2-0 going into the third, so he was on the way to winning the decision anyways. But I didn't really see that happen. I'm a big Ige fan, so I would have thought I'd been the one being biased and having it for Ige, but nah. But the ref did rob us of the over 2.5. That should have smacked. That would have been 9 fights called perfectly, but what are you going to do? It's MMA. Anything can happen. Even the refs can screw you. The judges can screw you. A lucky punch can screw you. But that Hyder Emil guy, I'd like to see Dan Ige fight him. He's undefeated. But if not, rematch with Edson Barboza. Edson Barboza versus anybody's a fun fight, so that's what I'd like to see. Ige versus Barboza or Emil. Dominic Reyes. I told y'all. If you watch the video, I told y'all. Well, I guess I didn't tell y'all. I told y'all I hope he gets it done. I did some emergency last-minute parlays on Dominic Reyes knockout round 1, plus 700. But the other legs of those parlays did not hit, so didn't make any money there. But I was really excited to see Reyes come back. I love the resurgent fighters. Made my night. So super stoked on that. Although I want to see him keep winning, I think it only makes sense for him to fight Alexander Raychik or Carlos Olberg. I think Raychik's more on his radar. I think Olberg's a little up there, but I wouldn't mind seeing him skip the line and fighting Olberg and a win over either Raychik or Olberg, and then maybe a title shot. I don't know. Let's keep him away from Alex Pereira though, because I want to see him keep going up. Okay, so Yair was told if he wins, he's getting a title shot. Volk made it look pretty easy against him. He kind of struggled with, he almost got his arm snapped off by Pitbull. But he still looked good. He dropped them. He won all 3 rounds. We took Yair money line. My long shot was Yair decision. So both of those hit. I don't think he should get a title shot because Volk won. If Lopez would have won, I would say, yeah, give him the title shot. But I would rather see Yair versus Lopez. They got some serious beef. I don't speak Spanish. I don't know what that beef was. It looked serious. I'd like to see those two fight regardless. I don't want Yair fighting Volk again. Give Volk some new blood. And let Yair and Lopez bang it out in Mexico in September. That would be awesome. All right. Jean Silva. He looked scary good. But Bryce Mitchell didn't look bad in round 1. I think he had an adrenaline dump or something. But or maybe he was scared. He looked kind of scared. But that's a scary dude. Jean Silva, he looked like a freaking animal. We put him in the parlay, my safe parlay, and it was not that safe. I was pretty scared that Bryce Mitchell, after seeing him at the press conference, he looked big, he looked locked in, he looked pissed off, and but unfortunately for him, he had to wake up. So Yeah, I'd like to see Silva one more fight and then a title shot. And I think Lerone Murphy. I think Lerone Murphy is undefeated. Silva's undefeated in the UFC. I think they both just fought, so neither of them have an opponent lined up. Let's do Silva versus Lerone Murphy. Paddy Pimblett. I got this dude at work that don't know shit. He's new to this. I introduced him to this, and he said, Paddy Pimblett by knockout. And I told him, I was like, just shut up. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Paddy Pimblett by knockout. I was like, it's either going to be Michael Chandler by decision, Michael Chandler by knockout, or Paddy Pimblett by submission. Most likely Paddy Pimblett by submission, but we were riding Michael Chandler hard. Me and all my boys were like, Chandler, Chandler, Chandler. He's an underdog. He shouldn't be an underdog. It's a huge step up in competition for Paddy Pimblett. And, dude, Paddy Pimblett is so much better than I thought. So, I mean, my apologies to Paddy Pimblett for the disrespect, but I can't believe he got the knockout. And I had to apologize to that dude. And I hope I never have to do that again because he thinks he's just an MMA wizard now. But to be fair, there's a lot of guys thought Pimblett was going to win. He was a favorite, but a lot of guys thought Chandler had a really good shot, but nobody, I don't care who you were, nobody thought that was going to happen. Paddy Pimblett's really good. Paddy Pimblett called for Justin, Dustin, or Charles. Don't give him any of them. Give him Renato Moicano. Renato Moicano versus Paddy Pimblett. I mean, that could headline a freaking pay-per-view with no belt on the line, dude. Then Pimblett's mentioned coaching the Ultimate Fighter against him. That's all money. That would be great. I would love to see Pimblett versus Moicano. I think the lead up to that fight would be amazing. I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, Moicano just got a title shot, basically. I mean, a last-minute replacement title shot, but still, I mean, that's huge for Paddy Pimblett, and it's huge for Moicano. Big payday for Moicano, and we know he loves money, so give my boy money that shot at Paddy Pimblett, and we'll see what happens there. And then Volk, if the Murphy versus Silva comes to fruition, give Volk the winner. It's probably not going to happen like that. They're probably going to give it to Yair, but the only other person that makes sense is Evloev. And Evloev's got a style that a lot of people don't like. I don't really like watching him fight when he just mauls people and can't get the finish. But when he fights other high-level grapplers like Aljamain, I thought that fight was awesome. Anybody who's really into grappling exchanges probably loved that fight. I would love to see him fight Volk because Volk's so good at getting back to his feet and he's so good at not getting finished. Like we saw Islam on his back for like a whole round and he was good to go and he's still punching him in the face. I think that Volk can cause a lot of damage defensively if Evloev is able to take him down and get back up and definitely outstrike him on the feet. So I think that would be a good back and forth fight, Volk versus Evloev. But I have Volk winning it. And I also have him beating the winner of Murphy versus Silva, which I think will be Silva. But that's because Volk he's pretty much the GOAT at featherweight, and that's really hard for me to say because I'm the biggest Aldo fan in the world, and even Volk considers Aldo the GOAT, and Holloway considers Aldo the GOAT, but man, I don't know. Volk is just so good. Like, versus prime Aldo, I mean, sure, I'd bet Aldo, but realistically, I don't know, man. Volk's probably the best featherweight of all time. And that hurts me to say that, being such a big Aldo fan. But yeah, Volk versus Evloev, that's what I'd like to see. Kind of. I wouldn't really like to see Evloev get a title shot, but based on everybody else in the top 5, he's already beat him. And some of these guys on the way up, Murphy and Silva, I think they need one more win, so they should fight each other. All right. Quick recap of UFC Mexico City, Moreno versus Urseg. Thanks to that Manuel Torres fight going under 1.5 rounds, a Moreno decision, being the last 2 picks of a 9-leg and a 12-leg. We were able to turn $5 into $4.90 and $80 into 4,200. I did wager a little bit more than just that 85, but I was able to come out with a profit of 4,300. Those weeks don't happen often at all. I wouldn't say they don't happen all the time. They don't even happen often. So if you're just new to this channel and you're like, oh man, this guy just hits giant 12-leg parlays, that's not the case. All right. So I do put in a couple 9 legs and 12 legs every week, but I do not often wager $80. I was just so confident in that fight card. So that was a little bit crazy for me. Usually I'll do $5 on something like that, but yeah, that was a pretty good night. The following week, not as good. I ended up putting about 275 into the fight card that night, and by the co-main event, everything was gone. Nothing hit. I mean, I was at a winning percentage, like 70% of the fights were called correctly, but I just didn't match up my parlays correctly. So at the end of the night, I put a emergency $25 on Pat Sabatini by decision and Lerone Murphy by decision to break even on that night. And then I did want to go over my betting strategy that I've been doing lately. It's been working out so far, but I don't know for sure if this is something I want to stick with in the long run. We're going to see how long it keeps going, and I keep winning doing it. But I will put about 40% of my bankroll for the night on the first 3 fights in different parlays. So I'll go really hard on a 2-leg parlay on the first 2 fights, and then put about half of that on the first 3 fights, and then I'll put half of that on the first 2 fights, but being specific with how they're going to end. And then also I'll put about the same amount on a more specific 3-legger, how the first 3 fights are going to end. So for instance, this week I bet 150 on Cornol and Tulio. And then I bet 50 on Cornol, Tulio, and Sumadarje versus Raposo to go over 2.5 rounds. And then I bet 25 on a more specific Nora by knockout, which didn't happen, and Tulio by knockout, which did happen. And then I bet 25 on a more specific one with Cornol money line, Tulio knockout or decision, and Sumadarje by decision, which did hit. So that just kind of increased my bankroll for the night and gave me a little bit of money to play with for the rest of the night. So quick recap, wagered about $600 and profited about $683. So the big first 3 fight investment, 150 on Cornol money line and Tulio double chance knockout or decision. I did about 37, which is a weird number, I know, on Cornol and Tulio knockout or decision, and Sumadarje versus Raposo to go over 2.5 rounds. We put 20 on Cornol money line, Tulio double chance, and Sumadarje decision. And I had my safe parlay that I posted, Cornol moneyline, Tulio double chance, and Jean Silva moneyline. I did a $30 bet on Michael Olenjacek versus Dumas to end in knockout. I did Krylov versus Reyes to go under 2.5 rounds, and Yair moneyline. We did 35 on Reyes versus Krylov to go under 2.5, Yair moneyline, and Volk to win. And I did place a last-minute emergency $5 parlay that I didn't share anywhere on Vina to win moneyline, the Ige versus Woodson fight to end in knockout, which I did not think was going to happen, but it had some pretty good odds. Krylov and Reyes to end in KO, Jean Silva moneyline, and Yair decision. That $5 paid out $250, so that was a pretty good one. If you check out the Instagram at Priceless Parlays, I did post on there Reyes versus Krylov to go under 2.5, Yair money line and Pimblett versus Chandler to go over 2.5. But I will not be posting that slip here because I forgot to place the bet. I pulled it up, screenshotted it, and never hit place bet. So I'm an idiot. If you did see that on my Instagram, then you're welcome. But as far as my long shot parlays, we did not do very well last week. But every parlay that I posted on Instagram and on YouTube, there's 5 different parlays. All 3 of them hit. But yeah, that's the results of my first week. I'm going to be breaking down Ian Gary versus Carlos Pradas later on this week. I'm going to be giving you my predictions on that fight. And then closer to the fight, probably the Wednesday prior when the more specific odds get released on FanDuel, I'll be sharing my bets. But remember, this is not advice. This is just what I'm betting on. And don't gamble if you can't afford to lose. I'll see y'all later this week for UFC Kansas City. Well, I had it by knockout, but her to win. That's something. That's it. Let's go.
Scores it 29-28, Suitaji. And Christopher Edgehill scores the contest 29-28 for the winner by split decision, the Tibetan Eagle.
Boom! Let's go. They didn't rob him. I mean, if I'm the ref, I'd already been stopped it. We can't miss them. I just can't miss. This show
Any tension that accompanied Dominic Reyes to fight week during that losing streak is long gone.
Oh, it was not. And in case you missed the breakdowns on Instagram, we put Nora Cornell money line, easy money. Marco Tullio, who looked like a god out there by knockout or decision, easy money. And then John Silva versus Bryce Mitchell. John Silva money line, not so easy money. I mean, John Silva made it look easy, but it was pretty scary. If you tailed that bet, that was 100 to win 230. And then we go to Dominic Reyes versus Nikita Krylov to go under 2.5. We could have went under 1.5 here, but we didn't want to get too greedy. And then my boy Yair, too long, too rangy for Pitbull, hit BJ with that same combo. What an animal. And the featherweight GOAT, Volk, getting it done on the scorecards. Make sure you follow on Instagram at Priceless Parlays and subscribe to keep up with more priceless picks.